A huge new PlayStation 4 exclusive has been announced, but gamers are really worried about it. It is Yakuza 7. I'm not as worried as other people. Yes, it's seeing a gigantic gameplay shift. We've got a new main character in the game. That's not the problem. It is the gameplay shift that a lot of people are worried about. But I'm going to try to put some positive light on it and try to take away the things that are really good about this shift. I know it's going to really worry some people, and we'll talk all about that. Yakuza 7 has been officially announced, and this is a massive announcement of a new PlayStation 4 exclusive. Let's go over all the things that are positive. This is a brand new Yakuza game. Yakuza is a franchise that's been making massive waves over here in the States ever since Sega has been more committed to bringing the games over here stateside. We got Yakuza 0, we got Yakuza Kiwami, we got Yakuza Kiwami 2. Yakuza 6 came out a while ago, Yakuza 3 just dropped on the PlayStation 4, and Yakuza 4 and 5 are to come. The games have also been making an impact on PC, and more people than ever are playing the Yakuza games, and the popularity for this series is at the height that it's ever been over here in the West. Now, it's always been a sizable franchise in Japan, but talking about Western appeal, Yakuza has been taken to another level over the last 2 years or so. And of course, we recently had the release of Judgment over here in the States. That's another title by the Yakuza team. So these types of games are making massive strides. With Yakuza 7, it is featuring a brand new main character in Ichiban Kasuga, and it is being set in the bright city of Yokohama. It looks fantastic based on some of the images that we've seen thus far. We didn't get a lot on the world about the game, but we did see some gameplay, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But visually, the game looks stunning. Much like Judgment, this is a game that looks built ground up for the PlayStation 4. If you guys are unaware, the previous Yakuza games and the Yakuza games that you guys have been playing on the PlayStation 4, those were all PlayStation 3 games initially, or in the case of Yakuza Kiwami and Kiwami 2, PlayStation 2 titles, so visually they do look a little bit dated. Some people see games like Yakuza Kiwami and they think this is a game that's originally on the PlayStation 4 when that is not the case. Then you see a game like Judgment, and Judgment clearly has that PlayStation 4 technical flavor for it, so that's why there is a little bit of a disconnect there from a technical standpoint. But Yakuza 7, very much a PlayStation 4 game, and the visuals shine through. But here is the part about Yakuza 7 that is scaring off a lot of people. With Yakuza 7, Yakuza is no longer your typical action-adventure Yakuza title. Rather, you want to guess what it is? It is a turn-based RPG. Yes, it is going from a typical action-adventure style to a turn-based RPG. What a major shift. You typically don't see this in gaming at all when you have such an established franchise. It's been established for so long. Yakuza has had 7 games, and it's all featured a similar playstyle, and with Yakuza 7, it is being completely turned on its head, and that is worrying a lot of people, and probably rightfully so. Again, a shift like this in gameplay style, and kind of so abruptly, we hadn't known, or we hadn't given any hints that the next Yakuza title was going to change the format so much. You would think that something like this would have been hinted at in previous interviews. Maybe the director would have been like, you know, I've been doing these Yakuza games, but I want to try something a little bit differently, so it wouldn't have completely come out of left field. But in this case, to a lot of people, this has come completely out of left field. Now, we did know a new Yakuza game was in development, but I think everybody was of the same mindset that this is going to be a traditional Yakuza game. We knew that Ichiban Kasuga was going to be the main character. That's fine. Kiryu is the main character for 7 games. It's okay to change up the main character. I don't think that's a big deal, but the gameplay style changing, that is a big deal. And I want to take a look at some tweets from Takashi Mochizuki, who is a Japanese reporter who was there at the reveal, and he shared some information that I think a lot of you guys will find fascinating. And he noted, new title announced, main character of this game loves games such as Dragon Quest. Mr. Nagoshi says this game will be watershed for Yakuza franchise. Seems like the main character is a little bit nerdy. He is definitely younger, and it seems like he's a little bit more carefree. He does have a more flamboyant style to him. I don't know if that's just me looking into it a little bit too much, but nonetheless, that is my initial impression. The new Yakuza game has a new battle command input system, so that is the part that is really worrying a lot of people. It's a turn-based combat system, completely different than previous Yakuza titles, and you can see based on the images that yes, it's a traditional turn-based RPG. If you're looking at those JRPGs like Dragon Quest, there's a lot of similarities from that you can point to this as well. Now, what is the reasoning behind this shift? And what Nagoshi says, I think, sheds a really big light into why they're making this shift. Here's what he said, as translated by Mochizuki. He noted, the classic Yakuza game format reached one complete style, so we wanted to try something different from the jump. Our experts of action game creation made this an RPG with their flavor. Hope fans welcome the change. If not, happy to change back to action games for future releases. Now, I find this such a good sign because, yes, Yakuza has been a terrific franchise, but it's a franchise that's been around for a very long time. Here's where I think another little bit of a disconnect is, where a lot of people are being introduced to Yakuza for the very first time over the last few years, but in reality, from a development standpoint, think about where these developers have been. They've been working on the same style of games for so long. Yes, the story's been different, they've added new twists and turns here and there, but generally speaking, these games have been largely similar for years, and we're talking about developers that have been working on these games. Yes, people come in and out of development studios, but a lot of these people have been with Yakuza from the get-go, and you're talking about working on the same game over and over again, and at some point it is gonna get a little bit redundant. If you're a game developer, think about that for a second. You want to try different things, you want to step out of your comfort zone a little bit, and that's really where I think Nagoshi is going at. 7 games of the same format. If you want to throw in Judgment, that's 8 games, although Judgment did feature a lot of differences, but I could understand, in any profession, think about a creative profession, do you want to keep doing the same thing, or do you want to reinvent yourself? After all of those years of working on the Yakuza titles, I can see from a Yakuza game studio standpoint that them being like, yo, we are burned out of making these Yakuza titles like this all the time. We really want to try something different, and here's what Nagoshi said that I think is so great. He noted that this is a shift. He noted that some people are going to be worrisome about it. I think he knew about that from the get-go because it is such a stark shift, and he directly said, hope fans welcome this change. If not, we're happy to change back to the action game for future releases. At the very least, with the release of Yakuza 7, they get to try something different. They get to step out of their comfort zone, and they get to make a game for them is incredibly compelling to work on. That's where I'm coming at from this. You want the development studio and the guys working on the game to have as much passion as possible, and that's just me having an inference on the situation. I don't know if this is actually what's going on, but based on what Nagoshi said, he noted that they wanted to make an RPG with their own flavor, so I'm sure it's gonna be a turn-based RPG, a traditional one at that, but it's also gonna have Yakuza flair to it. It's gonna have Yakuza thematics to it, and a lot of the stuff that we know and love out of Yakuza are gonna be present in Yakuza 7. I'm not saying that you have to completely jump on board. I'm not saying you even have to be happy about this shift. What I am saying is don't completely write off Yakuza 7 from the get-go, because some of the tweets that I'm seeing, some of the posts that I'm seeing on Reddit, a lot of people are very annoyed. A lot of people are pissed off, and I can understand why. If my favorite game franchise, which Yakuza ranks pretty highly on this channel if you guys have been following us, I could understand why you would be skeptical about such a stark shift. Could you imagine a series like Grand Theft Auto out of nowhere becoming a turn-based game, or becoming an RTS or something like that? That would be absolutely insane. Actually, a Grand Theft Auto RTS sounds kind of cool, but nonetheless, people would not be happy about Grand Theft Auto 6 being some sort of turn-based RPG, at least in the case of the majority of people. So I can empathize with you, but I can also empathize with the studio that's working on these games and them being like, hey, we want to create something different. We've been working on the same game for so long, and again, from a Western standpoint, a lot of you guys have gone into Yakuza in the last year or two, so you think this is a brand new franchise, and this is your first taste of Yakuza, and all of a sudden, they're already turning it on its head. But from a development standpoint, from a Yakuza game studio standpoint, they've been working on these games for a long time. I don't remember when the first Yakuza game, but in Japan, it must have been 2004, 2005. It is 2019. 14 years of working on the same style of game. At some point, you need to shake things up, but they understand that gamers are inherently going to be skeptical, and they're even open to the idea of going back to the old format. I'm just saying, let's wait and see. Let's see more gameplay. Let's wait until the game comes out, which, by the way, you guys are probably wondering about that. We're gonna know how this game turns out very, very shortly, as the game is out on January 16th next year in Japan for PlayStation 4. Chinese and Korean version are gonna drop on the same day, and then the US and European version, this is huge, later in 2020. So once again, a quick turnaround. Wasn't noted whether or not Yakuza 7 is gonna have English voiceover like Judgment, but I imagine it will. It was noted that Judgment did really well from a commercial standpoint over here in the West. I don't want to put all of that credit towards the game having Western voiceovers and English voiceovers. However, I did think that definitely helped with engaging more people in trying the game out. So that's my spiel on Yakuza 7. Just seeing a lot of skepticism, a lot of hate towards the game. I know some of you guys are still sold on the game. It's Yakuza. The guys have given us so many great games, and it's been a long time for them of working on the same game that if they do want to try something different, if they do want to step out of their comfort zone, I'm going to at least give it a chance. Because for so long, we ask games to innovate, we ask games to try something different, and then when a studio goes over the top and they try something so unique, there is this significant backlash, and that's why a lot of studios just stick to the same old routine of churning out the same game over and over again. Yes, there's going to be an audience that likes it, but from a sanity standpoint of developing a game, and just for the sheer evolution of you as a game developer and the game franchise, changes like this, I'm not saying super over-the-top changes like this might be a little over the top, but it was going to be necessary at some point, so I wanted to give my side of it. I think it's a little bit different than the notion that's coming out right now. Let's not be cowardly about this change. Let's embrace it for now. We'll see how it turns out, and then we can make our decision then, but I have a lot of faith in this studio, and I'm excited for them to try something new. So that's going to conclude this video. I do want to hear all of your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. I know all of you guys that watch our videos aren't Yakuza fans. However, for the portion of you that are, which I imagine at this point it should be a significant amount of you, we want to hear from you guys. Let us know what you think of this change. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.